legislation was but those are all things that the Secretary's pushing for, and we're going to do our best to support.
Thanks, Evan. Continue to reduce veteran homelessness. So that's a huge priority of the administration, as well as the Secretary. And I think we'll continue to get vouchers this coming year, and staff social workers to try and make sure we get the vouchers in the hands of those veterans who need them the most, and housed, even though we're in such a tight rental market here in Long Beach and Orange County. And then finally, the other four are really things that he wants us to keep focused on to actually ensure the other 8 priorities get done. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time with those, but I just wanted to share those with you. He's, I don't know if you've seen him on TV, but in person, it's just, he's a remarkable leader, and he's so passionate about trying to improve this agency, knowing, some of our challenges, but he's very ambitious, and just the amount of time that he has spent with us as individual leaders is, I can't tell you how inspiring it is for me. Just the only other thing that I want to talk about is what's called a MyVA engagement board. And what we've done is taken some folks from the community, a lot of veteran supporters, and we're putting together a community board that kind of is going to help us in the VA fill the needs of veterans, knowing that we cannot do it all alone. There are resources out there, and I don't. Is anybody here, at least from the planning folks from that board? The planning. It's a MyVA community board, and there've been sometimes there's some folks like Bobby McDonald is on there. And nobody's here. Okay. Well, just know that it's coming. I expect our first meeting be sometime in June, and we will actually that group will have public meetings like this where we can share some issues and hopefully resources and solutions for the veteran community. So, there's a lot of folks out there that want to help, and sometimes, there's duplicate resources, there's, people are sent around to many different referral sources. So hopefully we're going to make the whole process more efficient. That's really all I wanted to talk about. Rich, should we start with cards?
Yeah, so what we'll do is let's do our road rules, not our road rash, just kind of how we're going to make the night go tonight. We're all going to respect each other. We're going to start with the cards. We have a collection of the cards up front. On some occasions, there's a couple of different questions that are mixed onto the same card, so we're going to try to get everybody's question answered, but just be patient with us as we try to figure out who owns the response and make sure we get it back to you. There's also some questions that are fairly private that we probably won't discuss amongst everybody here, but we might call your name out, and we have staff in the back that will meet with you specifically about your particular issue. Kind of the focus and thrust of what we really want to do with these town halls is to find out in general terms what's good, what's bad, what can we do to make things a better experience for our veterans, and you might have some ideas about things that you might want that makes it easier for you to access us. It's teamwork. It's us and you. It's not us against you or you against us. There are more people here that care about being here every day and what we do with you all every day, that we want that feedback. So we got to respect each other and get to that point. So anybody else have a card that we've not yet collected to get started on the process? Okay, I'll come get that in a second. So I only see one hand up for a card. And you got one. Okay. Oh, you need one. Okay. So I got a young man in the back that's going to come bring you a card. You got a pen? You're prepared. All right. Oh, there we go. We got one for you. Okay, so I'm going to read the first question because it's mine to answer, and this comes from Cindy. What's the status of and issues with information flow? An example, I became aware of this town hall meeting because I was looking for map information online and just happened to click on upcoming events. What's online is not reflective of what is actually going on here at the Long Beach VA. Coherence, cohesion. I like that. So what we did to broadcast and make people aware of how we try to share information outside of this is we have a Facebook page. We use it almost every day to send out upcoming events We try to do something 3 weeks ahead of time. We try to do a reminder about a week ahead of time. We put posters throughout the hospital, but I know the posters sometimes get to be a little bit of poster burnout. You may not notice one distinct poster from the next. But we also added table tents in the canteen on the tables to let veterans know about tonight's event. We also email out our friends, family, other veterans groups to have them share the information about what's going on here in a bigger, to their email groups. But I would tell you that the easiest way for us to try to be mobile, quick, share information on a daily basis is really on our website, longbeach.va.gov, and our Facebook page, where we post, or try to post, everything that we are aware of that's going on. We put a calendar on our website so that if you're not internet savvy, you can call our operators and say, hey, I understand there's something going on this week. Can you look at the calendar and let me know what it is? That's our attempt to try to make it easier for you to get information about what we're doing and where it's happening. And we know one size doesn't fit all. Some like the internet, some don't, some would rather see it. So we need that feedback. If you know of a different way or a better way, absolutely we want to know about it.
Well, I think one way, just like we get the calls for appointment reminders, I think using the telecommunication, I don't know if you guys have it already automated, to send out the message, that we get. If we don't pick it up, we're going to get a message. There's a town hall meeting. There's, the mental health meeting that, it's poster. Yeah, it's poster crazy, and it's kind of like, I look back and I'm like, I know there's a lot of female veterans, that would be here if they knew about it. So just besides the Facebook, because it's like that's a social media. How about coming directly from the VA, Long Beach VA, with the calls? I don't know if that's something that you can technically do, but it's an idea.
Yeah. I appreciate that. And actually, I'm going to encourage all of you, if you know something and you know another veteran similar to your interests, your age, your demographic, your questions, we count on you two to share that information. But no, you got a good point. So the other thing I was going to say is that Brian, for our patient-centered care team, just brought an updated, I think today or yesterday was updated. Yesterday was updated. So this has phone numbers for our departments that you can use to call direct. So grab one of these. There's still some in the back, but that'll help you be able to communicate with us directly to the department you're trying to reach. So hopefully that will help. With that, Brian, why don't you go off first on one of the questions that you have?
Sure. Good evening, folks. This is from I believe it's Miss Collins, and it says, accountability for Iraq and Afghan vets healthcare. I have a letter that has been submitted to the Patient Advocate Office, social worker, and still waiting.
Thank you.
So how may I help you tonight?
Thank you, Lena.
Sure, well, I'll be happy to take that letter. And then also I want to say thank you for being a caregiver to that veteran. Thank you. I'll take another one. Mr. Smith, why has the VA taken away dentistry help? Mr. Smith, are you out there? Well, so for our dentistry is still here, and they're still going strong. Actually, they have they've remodeled the area, so it's larger, more expansive. And you do traditionally have to be service connected at 100% in order to receive free dental services. Mr. Smith? Thank you. And I've got one more. Mr. Mike. Hi, Mike. Question, records. Why can't a patient that have data, medical records, input into his or her medical files without primary signatures? So, Mike, I'm thinking this is possibly what we talked about the other day. And if I'll elaborate, part of your challenge was you had outside records from a recent accident that you were trying to have uploaded into the VA system so that our providers, specifically through our ER department, could see the results of those MRI results to then help in expediting the care that you were seeking here. And as I explained, part of the challenge is that from, I guess, from a medical standpoint, it could be challenging if we have veterans that come in and say, I need this updated into my file. And there may or may not be medical necessity to have that medical records updated. In your particular case, it appeared very obvious that it was related to your current concern and to try and help you. Is there somebody possibly from radiology or medical records up here that could help me out with that? Okay.
So what we'll do is I'm gonna ask our primary care team to just describe the process that if you have an accident or have an issue or you get outside care somewhere, what are we able to do with that information to help in your treatment plan once you come to the VA? Because that's kind of the crux of the issue, Mike, right? Some things you were done outside, we need to understand that so we know how to treat you going forward.
I had to wait 4 hours in the ER to get to fax.
Okay. And what Mike is saying is, in order to help him when he came to our ER, he had to wait 4 hours for the VA to get information from an outside hospital about his condition. So, I mean, it's generic terms, but primary care, what do you normally do if a patient has an episode of care out in the community that they believe would be beneficial for us to know in their treatment plan going forward?
Definitely, we would like to get as much record about the treatment plan as much as possible. However,
Records were sent to Dr. Marquez 2 days.
So his issues, apparently one of our clinicians may have gotten the information, but we'll talk about how the process should work, and we'll let your specific case separate, Mike, but we want to understand the process so this happens to somebody else, we know what should occur.
so if you bring the medical record to the primary care provider, the medical provider will do two things. One is if a simple one-page record, we can just summarize that and put into your record into our progress note directly. Second, if it's many of them, we selected out what is important and we send it to medical record to be scanned in. Now, if we don't have your record and you say, I was at USC County and I have record up there, we would require you to sign a release of information so that we can fax over. Without your signature, no other healthcare agency would release any of your medical record to us.
So what he's saying is he had to, Mike, let's meet with you separate because your issue has a lot of components to it. But the bottom line is we should be able to add your outside care to your medical record. So we'll have to find out in your case why that didn't work as smoothly as it should have. Yeah. So go ahead, ma'am, and you're going to add to the... Let me reiterate what you're saying so everyone can hear it. So her complaint is that she has had and brought outside records, that her frustration is that she does not believe they've ever gotten into her medical record within the day. So we'll have to look at these gaps and find out what's happening, that your information either it's in there and you don't know it, or it's not in there. Are patients able to see everything in the medical record?
Not everything, especially the scanning in.
Right. Yeah, I think there's components to your medical record that are not available on Healthy Vet. So you may not see 100% of what we would see in your medical record, but you can request a copy of what's in your medical records, throw the information. Okay, and you didn't see anything in there? Okay. Okay.
That's true. That's true. There is one database. But I think we need to, is there a way that, I'm sorry, Health Information Management is not here tonight. We normally don't get a lot of these questions, but
Can we publish something on